Hey there. Welcome to another deep dive.
Hmm.
Today, we're going behind the scenes at the OCC.
Okay.
You know, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. They're
Hmm.
like the guardians of our banking system.
Maybe.
And we've got our hands on a really interesting document,
Oh, yeah.
a draft work statement that outlines their plan for using generative AI.
Wow.
It's like a sneak peek into the future of financial regulation.
I'd say so. This is cutting edge stuff.
It is. It is.
Uh,
So maybe before we get into the details,
Sure.
can you give us a quick overview of what the OCC actually does?
Absolutely. So think of them as the watchdogs
Go.
of the national banking system.
Gotcha.
They oversee all those national banks and federal savings associations,
Right.
making sure they're operating safely, soundly, and fairly.
So they touch the lives of pretty much anyone who uses a bank.
Exactly. It's not some obscure agency. Their work affects us all.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
So the OCC is already using GenAI then?
Yeah, they are. They've already got OCC-Chat in beta. It's their own version of ChatGPT,
Oh, interesting.
also built on GPT-4.
Okay.
But it's been tailored specifically for their needs.
So they're not just taking something off the shelf, they're building their own tools.
Right. It's very customized.
That's cool. What else have they been working on?
Well, they've got a whole suite of prototype AI tools in development. There's OCC-infoAssist.
What's that one do?
It helps you find the right information quickly.
Nice.
And then they've got tools for analyzing documents, comments, and even predicting potential issues.
Wow. So covering a lot of ground.
Yeah, definitely.
Are they using like different kinds of technology for all this?
You're right. They're not limiting themselves to just one platform.
Okay.
They're using Microsoft Azure, Amazon Web Services, and even some open source tools.
Oh, wow. A real mix.
Yeah, and the way they've structured their teams is interesting too.
How so?
Well, they've got a solutions lab that's like their R&D hub, creating prototypes. And then a separate GenAI service delivery team to figure out how to implement, maintain, and tailor these tools.
Okay, so two teams, one for building and one for making it all work.
Exactly.
Smart, right?
Yeah, that's a really organized approach. So this work statement we've got,
Yeah.
is it all about bringing in outside help to scale things up even further?
Yes, precisely. They're looking for partners with specific expertise.
To help them navigate all the complexities.
Exactly.
And that's where it gets really interesting for us. We get this inside look at their strategy. What jumped out at you first?
Well, their focus on sustainability really struck me.
What do you mean?
It's clear this isn't just some experiment for them.
Right.
They're in it for the long haul. They want to build a program with policies and procedures designed for continuous improvement.
So they know AI is going to keep evolving and they want to be ready.
Precisely. They're thinking ahead.
That's smart.
They're not just focused on the technology either.
Oh.
They really emphasize knowledge transfer throughout the document. Makes sense. You can't just drop these new tools on people and expect them to know what to do.
Right. They want their staff to become true collaborators in all this.
To use GenAI effectively, maintain it, even contribute to its development.
Got it.
So it's about building a culture of AI fluency at the OCC.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
Okay, so let's get a bit more into the technical side of things.
Sure.
This work statement talks about implementation and operational support.
Right.
What did you pick up on there?
Well, it's obvious they're working with a complex IP environment, probably lots of legacy systems.
Yeah, there.
And they need help integrating these new GenAI tools into that.
Right.
They talk about performance monitoring, change management, updates, security patches, all that stuff.
Sounds like a lot.
It is. It is. Keeping a big operation running smoothly is no joke.
And they even mention the need to decommission obsolete tools.
Yeah, that really stood out to me.
What do you think that means?
Well, it shows they're thinking ahead.
Yeah.
GenAI is evolving fast, and they know they need to be adaptable.
To keep up with all the changes.
Exactly. They're not afraid to get rid of tools that aren't cutting it anymore.
Now for the fun part, capability tuning.
Ah,
This is where they get into what they want these systems to actually do.
Right.
Can you break that down for us a little?
of course. So there's prompt engineering.
Okay, that's crafting the right instructions. Right?
Exactly. It's crucial for working with AI.
You got to make sure it's focused on the right info.
Yes, and presenting it in a way that's useful.
It's like having a brilliant assistant, but you have to teach it to be helpful to you.
Great analogy.
Thanks.
And then there's multimodal methods.
Multimodal.
That means training the AI to work with different types of data, text, images, maybe even audio.
So the more data you feed it, the smarter it gets.
That's the idea.
So they're not just looking at text documents anymore.
Nope. They're using a much wider range of information.
That's really pushing the boundaries.
It is. It is. They see the potential of GenAI, and they're willing to invest in the expertise.
You make it all happen.
Exactly.
So they need people who can build these AI systems, but they also need people who can speak AI, so to speak.
Right. You need to bridge the gap between the tech and the people using it.
And that's where the next part of the work statement comes in.
Yeah.
They list the skills and staffing they need. Let's dive into that. Actually, you know what? Let's just keep going.
Okay.
What are the standout roles they're looking to fill?
Well, obviously they need strong GenAI engineering expertise.
People who can build these systems?
Yep. But they also want something I find particularly interesting.
Tell me. What is it?
Specialists in GenAI tuning.
Ooh!
They need people who can fine-tune the performance of these models.
So not just the builders, but also the refiners, making sure those AI engines are humming.
Exactly.
What else?
Okay, this might surprise you. A technical writer trainer.
Wait a minute, really? That's not the first thing you think of with AI.
I know, right? But think about it.
Okay.
All this amazing technology is useless if people can't understand it.
That's true.
They need someone to translate all this complex AI stuff into plain English.
To create training materials so everyone at the OCC can use these tools.
Exactly. It shows they're serious about making this technology work for everyone.
Not just the tech wizards.
Right.
This is really forward-thinking stuff.
It is. They're building an AI-literate workforce.
This whole deep dive has been eye-opening. The OCC is really going all in on GenAI.
I agree. It's fascinating. They're really thinking this through.
It's not just about embracing the technology, it's about the human element, too.
Absolutely. They're being very thoughtful.
This has given me a lot to think about. How about you? Any final thoughts before we wrap up this part of the deep dive?
You know, what really stands out to me is how the OCC recognizes that this is more than just using a cool new technology. It's a fundamental shift in how they approach their core mission.
Oh, interesting. I hadn't thought about it like that.
It's not just about doing the same things faster or more efficiently with AI.
Okay.
It's about opening up totally new possibilities.
So what kind of new things could they do?
Well, think about the sheer amount of data the OCC deals with.
Yeah, that's got to be a ton.
Financial transactions, regulatory filings, economic indicators, you name it.
Wow, even with the best analysts, that's got to be overwhelming.
Exactly. But GenAI can sift through all that, find patterns.
Things humans might miss.
Right, and surface insights that could have a real impact.
It's like giving them superpowers for understanding the financial landscape.
Yeah.
Like X-ray vision for the banking system.
I like that.
So what could they actually do with that?
Well, imagine being able to identify emerging risks before they blow up.
Okay, yeah.
GenAI could analyze market trends, social media even.
To spot trouble before it happens.
Exactly. Early warning signs of instability or potential fraud.
That would change how they approach supervision and enforcement. What about consumers? Any benefits for us regular folks?
Absolutely. Think about personalized financial education.
Okay.
Imagine an AI chatbot that answers your questions about banking regulations.
Wow.
Helps you understand complicated financial products.
Yeah, sometimes those are impossible to figure out.
I know, right? And it could even warn you about scams.
That would be amazing. It would make everyone so much more financially savvy.
Right.
So it sounds like GenAI could make the OCC more proactive, more responsive to both the industry and the people they protect.
Exactly.
And we can't forget about efficiency.
True.
Automating those routine tasks would free up human analysts.
Yeah, giving them more time to focus on the complex stuff.
So it's not about replacing humans with robots.
No.
It's about a partnership.
Right. Humans and AI working together.
And this is where the OCC's cautious approach is so important.
Yeah, they're not naive about the potential downsides.
They're not getting carried away by the hype.
They're being very clear about the need for security for monitoring these systems.
That's good to hear. It would be easy to just jump in without thinking about the risks.
I agree. They're being realistic.
And remember their emphasis on knowledge transfer. They're not just relying on outside contractors, they're training their own people.
To understand these systems, use them, even develop them.
It's a long-term vision.
Absolutely.
It's like they're saying, we're not just jumping on the AI bandwagon, we're building our own AI ecosystem.
I like that. That's a great way to put it.
And that sets an example for other banks.
Right. As they see the OCC succeeding, they're going to follow.
A ripple effect across the whole financial industry.
That's what I think we'll see.
That's really interesting. So the OCC could be a leader in responsible GenAI adoption.
I think so.
What kind of impact could that have on the bigger picture?
Well, if banks start using GenAI to assess risk better, catch fraud faster, and personalize their services, it could make the whole financial system more stable.
More efficient, fairer even.
Exactly. It's not just about the technology, it's about the change it can create.
That's a great point. So it all goes back to the OCC's core mission, keeping the banking system safe and sound.
Right.
And GenAI is a tool to help them do that in this new century.
That's it in a nutshell.
Okay, I want to go back to something we talked about earlier, capability tuning.
Yeah.
It seems really important for making GenAI truly effective.
It is.
Can you break that down a bit more?
Sure. So remember prompt engineering.
Yeah, crafting the right instructions.
That's where it starts. You have to make sure the AI is focused on the right tasks.
Give it the right guidance.
Exactly. It's like teaching a super smart apprentice to be useful to you.
I love that analogy. And the OCC is also using multimodal methods.
Right. That means analyzing different types of data, not just text.
Images, audio, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
So they can handle things like complex financial documents.
Yep. Even stuff with charts, graphs, handwritten notes.
It's like Sherlock Holmes using all his senses to solve a case.
Love it.
GenAI can be a super sleuth for finance.
That's a great image.
So the OCC is really pushing the limits of what GenAI can do.
Definitely. They're not just replicating what they already do. They want to transform their work.
And to do that, they need the right people.
For sure.
We've talked about engineers and tuning specialists, but what about that technical writer trainer?
Ah, yes. It shows their commitment to transparency.
And to making sure everyone at the OCC understands how these tools work.
Right. It's not about black box AI systems. It's about empowering people.
So they're building an AI literate workforce.
Exactly. And that's key for making sure AI is used ethically and responsibly.
Well said. Now, before we wrap up this part of the deep dive,
Yeah.
I've got one last question for you. If you had to sum up the OCC's approach to GenAI in just one sentence,
Oh, wow. Okay.
what would it be?
I'd say they're embracing GenAI's potential to enhance their mission,
Okay.
but they're also prioritizing responsible implementation, knowledge transfer, and user empowerment.
That's a perfect summary. This whole conversation has been so thought-provoking.
I agree.
It makes me wonder what this means for, like, the average person out there. Why should we care about what the OCC is doing with this tech?
Well, remember, the LCC's decisions affect all of us.
Okay.
They impact the whole financial system,
Right.
which then influences things like interest rates, loan availability, even the economy as a whole.
So even though most people don't deal with the OCC directly,
Uh-huh.
what they do matters for our everyday financial lives.
Absolutely. And by looking at how they're using GenAI,
Yeah.
we can get a glimpse into the future of banking.
Oh, interesting.
This technology could totally reshape how we interact with money,
Okay.
how financial institutions handle risk, how regulators ensure things are fair and stable.
Like a sneak peek behind the curtain of the financial world.
Right. And as we said before, the OCC often sets a precedent for the whole industry.
So if they're successful with GenAI, other banks will likely follow their lead.
That's what I'd predict. And that could lead to some really cool innovations. Think about personalized financial services, faster loan approvals,
Okay, yeah.
better fraud detection, all kinds of possibilities.
That's exciting, but also kind of scary, right?
It's true. It raises some questions.
Like, who's making sure these AI systems are being used ethically?
That's a crucial point.
Yeah.
And that's why the OCC's focus on transparency is so important.
Right.
They're training their workforce to understand these systems.
So it's not just algorithms making decisions.
Nope. There's human oversight involved.
So it's about finding the right balance,
Yes.
using the power of AI, but keeping human judgment in the loop.
That's the key.
Yeah.
It's not AI or humans. It's AI and humans working together.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive.
I agree.
We've learned so much about the OCC's plans for GenAI and how it could impact the future of finance.
It's a big topic.
It is. Any final thoughts before we wrap things up?
You know, I'm really struck by the OCC's forward-thinking approach. They're not just following the hype. They're strategically planning for the future.
They're building a sustainable AI ecosystem.
Exactly. They're thinking long-term.
It really shows that technology is only as good as the people using it.
So true.
And the OCC gets that. The human element is crucial in all this.
I agree.
Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the OCC's GenAI plans.
That went by fast.
I know, right? But we've only scratched the surface.
There's always more to explore.
We definitely encourage you to keep thinking about these issues.
Yeah. What are your takeaways?
What surprised you most about the OCC's approach?
What questions do you still have?
Share your thoughts with us on social media using the hashtag DeepDiveOCC.
We'd love to hear from you.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.